The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has deployed 2 Deputy Inspector Generals of Police and 5 Assistant Inspectors, and also not forgetting they have gone to the Anambra State in particular to help ensure adequate security for the November 6th governorship election in the southeast state. The deployment is apparently a response to the general apprehension that the election may be disrupted by the pro-Biafra group IPOB.
Now, the spokesperson of the force headquarters in Abuja, Frank Mba, who announced the deployment in a statement yesterday in Abuja, said 14 commissioners of police, 31 deputy commissioners of police, and 48 assistant commissioners of police have also been deployed to the state. Now, according to the statement, the deployment is a major overhauling of the security landscape in Anambra ahead of the election.
Well, here are the deployed officers. We have DIG Joseph Igbunike, who is to coordinate the security component for the election, to be assisted by the Acting Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, Zaki Ahmed. Other strategic commanders deployed to Anambra State include 5 Assistant Inspector Generals of Police, AIGs, 14 Commissioners of Police, CPs, 31 Deputy Commissioners of Police, DCPs, and 48 Assistant Commissioners of Police, ACPs.
Now, the senior officials are to coordinate human and other operational deployments in the 3 senatorial districts, 21 local government areas, and the 5,720 polling units in Anambra State.
Well, to discuss more on the security apparatus ahead of the election, we have human rights lawyer Abdul Mahmud. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. Tell us what you make of this particular election in Anambra State, and is the redeployment the right thing to do?
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. We have traveled this path before. I'm not enthused by the news of the current deployment to Anambra State. When I say we have traveled this path before, I have my handle on history, particularly a very recent history in Kogi State, in Osun State, and also in Kano State, all of last year. Take, for example, Kogi State. We all knew that the intelligence report on the high level of the presence of small and light arms in that state in the weeks, preceding the 2019 elections, the information was in the public space. The police told us that they were going to combat what was increasingly, a menace and a threat to the elections in that state. We saw what happened. In Osun State, the same thing. We saw what happened. In Kano State, we also saw what happened. When we're talking of a police force that is as partisan as the political parties that are involved in the election process, there's no assurance that we will not get or experience or witness what we saw in Kogi last year, when that phrase, became a common phrase in our country. Look, my friends, we're talking of the Nigerian police force that is partisan. For me, I consider 3 axes of evil in our country today. Institutions that rig elections, institutions that should stay outside the fray of politics, but they have become part of the political process. Whether we admit it or not, the federal police represent the interests of the federal state, and whoever governs the federal state, runs the police force as if the police is a piper that dances to a tune. And we've seen how the police itself as an institution dance to the pipe tune of the ruling party in our country. Let us not be deceived by the number of policemen that have been deployed to Anambra State. 38,000, 34,000 was deployed to Kogi last in 2019. What happened?
Okay, now as a human rights lawyer yourself, there's been conversation about the name tag unknown gunmen given to this miscreant constituting security threats in the southeast region, especially Anambra State. Are they really unknown in the real sense of it?
I don't work in intelligence, so neither am I a police officer. So I will not be able to determine the character and nature of those who have taken to arms and who are unleashing mayhem, in the southeast region of our country. Yes, there is a fundamental problem as it relates to security in our country. The question we'll ask is, what has been the response of Nigerian police force? In fact, what has been the response of the Nigerian state itself? The nation state is threatened. We'll fold our arms. The nation state is threatened. No conscious security framework is rolled out for us to address some of these problems we are seeing. That we have Nigerian police force deploying 38,000 men and women to Anambra State does not give me assurance that the menace of the UGN or non-government in the Southeast will be addressed. Look, we are dealing with elections. The institutions that organize the election in our country is INEC. The question I ask, this security and intelligence framework mechanism we are throwing all over the place in Anambra, is it being led by INEC itself? INEC understands the nature and character of elections it is organizing. It understands the threat to it. Is INEC leading, the security framework as we have seen it in itself? Is the charm of INEC involved in that institutional policing process, which the NPF, Nigerian Police Force, is throwing out? If it's not, I see us ending up like Osun State. We saw what happened. Talks were all over the place, running around cities, ensuring that opposition voters did not have access to polling centers. We saw what happened in Kano in broad daylight. We saw what happened in Kogi. We saw how Nigerian Police Force helicopters, were ferreting, members of the ruling class in Kogi State, and we saw how these helicopters were shooting, were shooting in strongholds of the opposition parties. It's not enough for police to tell us, look, we are deploying 5 AIGs, 2 deputy inspector general of police in a small state, in a small state like Anambra. But my thinking here is, this is my idea. It might be laughable because it's a small state. We will see men and women of Nigerian police overlapping their duties and functions in order to secure, to secure the state.
All right,
the
Mr.
result that we saw in Kogi, in Osun, and in Kano in 2019 is what we will get.
All right, Mr. Abdul, it seems you're not. With your statements, it seems that you're not in full support of this deployment, especially of the officers by the Inspector General of Police. But let me ask you this quickly. What do you make of the fact that the state governors have not come out to say anything, especially looking at the elections? Or do you think the elections should not hold?
Anambra presents an intriguing scenario for Nigeria. Whether we admit it or not, IPOB led by Anambra Kano might be operating outside the political process. It's a fringe social political movement. Whether we admit it or not, that movement itself has garnered some level of support. How have we engaged the political leadership in our country, engage IPOB in order to secure a peaceful and free elections in Anambra is what I really doubt. You can't go gung-ho to a state where people are genuinely of the opinion that they've been ostracized, they've not been allowed, to express themselves within the federal framework, the federal framework in our country. I think for me, the problem in the Southeast gets to, solutions to the problem in the Southeast gets to do with us deciding to take the political road, engage a movement that appear to have control and command of the people of that region. Engage him in some level of discussion. The traditional political elite in the Southeast, is not doing that. the leadership of our country is not doing that. When we go gung-ho, see, this is what will happen. IPOB has not issued a statement, as far as I'm aware, that they are boycotting the Anambra elections. But I have read in the public media that it is a desire of the movement itself to call for public boycott of the elections. And if what we see with the every Monday stay at home is what we will see on the 6th of November, there's likelihood that Anambra will become a graveyard on a day a decisive election is taking place in that state. It's late now. We can't engage IPOB. All political parties are in the field. The Nigerian police have said that they deployed men and women, in Anambra. All I'm calling for us to avoid the tatata situation in Kogi, the state robbery that we saw in Osun in 2019, and the violence we saw in Kano, naked violence in the streets of Kano. The police should live above the political fray. The police should partisan itself.
Thank you so much. I think we've gotten a lot from you. Thank you so much, human rights lawyer Abdul Mahmud, for joining us. Your points we have taken. Thank you. Thank you for being here on Breakfast.
Thank you.